Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to the next episode review of Call of the Night Season 2. I believe the thing was episode 15. It's episode 17. Yeah, 17. So yeah, episode 17 of Season 2 of Call of the Night. And I would say good episode still. But we do get the backstory of Kubra, because like after when the with Ko and Nuzura went to the hospital to investigate more of our human past, right? They approached by Kubra, who's working as a nurse in that hospital, and so they give her a condition that is wear the Nuzura wear the nurse outfit, and Ko wearing like the patient outfit, right? The patient gown. And so they tell her she tells them not to go to the room at the end of the hall of the third floor. So and tells about how Nuzura is still afraid of ghosts and his place is haunted, right? And so we do get the backstory because of her backstory, because Nuzura actually stumbles into that room, and it's an empty patient's room, but she finds a photo of her back then in a nurse outfit with Kubra back in the hospital bed back when she was a human. So as she's asking, "What is this?" And Ko first was asking her, uh did you? It was like she was asking, what was it? Did Nozra return you? And it was like, no, no, it was like that. It was like, is she your offspring? It's like, no, it's not that either. Then when she shows the picture, and from that point on, it's mostly we get the backstory of her back in her human life, where she was constantly sick. She was in the hospital a lot, and so by the time she manages to get out of the hospital, she wanted to go hang out back with her human friends, right? And her friends are just like, yeah, they're kind of like backstabbers in a way, because they invited a couple of guys to go drinking, right? And so when she had to go to the bathroom, because she was kind of feeling that again, she overhears them say, "Hey, we should be carrying a sick person around all the time, This whole, and she's always constantly sick and all that stuff. We shouldn't just carry someone that around with us all the time." And so after that, she just kind of passed on. And she ended back in the hospital. And during that time, that's when she first met Nuzura, working as a nurse. So and she was the one who really cared about Kubra. The whole time when she was there, she's been nothing but nice to her, caring for her. Even feeding her the apples and stuff like that. And she's been nothing but nice to her, and compared to her other friends and her parents, and you know nobody doesn't really care about her, basically. And it's kind of a sad story, to be honest, for her, right? I mean, nobody doesn't really care about her because she was always constantly sick in the hospital and staying there for a period of time. And even one of her friends had the nerve to come back and say, "Hey, sorry, we didn't mean what you said, though." It's like, "Hey, next time let's go where you want to go. Hey, about skiing or snowboarding, right?" That's not really not my thing. Because consider her condition, and physical activity is not her thing, right? So and then afterwards, she meets Newser on the roof, and it's like, because Newser was asking her, like, what do you want to do with your life? What do you want? And she realized how everybody around her doesn't care about her, so she kind of is like, saying, "I hate them. I just want to just be by my own." And so, and it was all like, the only person, basically, well, paraphrase, but basically she was kind of like the only one who cared about her was Nuzura, right? And so like they show like the shot where the moon turns blood red, which with the shining on Nuzura because she was still a vampire back then. So in a way, well, like I say, in a way, she was kind of like her offspring in a way because you have to, and by the rules in this, you have to fall in love. You have to fall in love with that vampire before you get a chance to turn. So I mean, consider the fact that that she was the only one who cared about her, right? And she was crying, when she was thinking that who you want to go to be with, more basically was her, and that's the moment where she bites her and turns into a vampire, and that's the next thing I know is she's seen very happy when she's flying through the sky, flying through the air above the city, where she was pretty much the most happiest. That she's been free, from all the burn that's been put on her back, for being sick all the time, so and so she's finally free. She's now free to do whatever she wants now. So and it was kind of a sad how you're. I mean, it's like why friends like that is like why do you do that? Why do you say stuff like her? She's constantly sick. What can you do about it? It's like um when if you're in the hospital and someone behind your back is constantly giving you crap because you're sick all the time. I'm like, why can't you do? How can you just say that? It's not their fault. They chose to be in the hospital in the first place. They didn't chose to be in the hospital in the first place themselves. It's just what happens. It's just. But it's just some people are just so mean. So bullies. But it was her backstory was kind of a sad. Now the reason how she kind of remembers her previous life because she kept a blood transfusion bag of her blood. So when she had news or to take a drop of it, she saw her past life, and that's why she saw in the photo how she knew her from back then. So, but so the question remains though is about Newser's past human life. Okay, we saw a smidge of that though, but what happened before she became a vampire? What was she like as a human? And so I'll have to explore that though. But we got Kabura's backstory though, so it was sad. Just friends, so-called friends, constantly are giving her shit just because she's sick all the time in the hospital. So I'm like, do you think she deliberately chose to be in the hospital in the first place? No. But seeing how happy she was, the most happiest when she was finally free, when she became a vampire, seeing her flying through the sky like she's a free bird now, so free as a bird. So, but yeah, but Call of the Night season 2, episode 17, it was good though. So we got the because a lot of backstories I've been seeing have been very saddened, so but was her backstory sad? Yeah, but it wasn't as sad as I've seen though. So, but we know how she first met her and how she got turned by her. But like I said, by the logic though, you could say she was her offspring in a way, but she wasn't under her control and anything those shows. So, but still, it was still a pretty good episode. I really enjoyed it though. Now it's just now by the next episode my man, I've been stuttering a lot. Jeez, I do apologize if I've been mumbling and stuttering a lot. I do apologize about that though. But I'm saying though, it's just like now after by the next episode, we're to focus on getting back on finding out about Newsera's human life past human life. So, and then going back with the detective too as well. But overall, still this is a good episode though. Knowing about the backstory, sad though. So, but thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next one, and we'll see you next time. Later.